I'm not going to lie, I am not a fan of these gauze type air cleaners, and I'm going to tell you why. But I need your opinion on it. So let's talk about it right now. Now, before we talk about any details here, let's just kind of look at the timeline here. These gauze element filters have been out since probably the mid 1980s when K&N first hit the market, and ever since then, there's been all sorts of different companies out there that have done a version of the same thing. But do they really work? Do they filter air? Do they keep the dirt out of the engine? Isn't that the most important thing an air filter does? So that's what I want to talk about today is what the options are here as far as how to take care of your engine, how to keep the dirt out of it, but not kill the performance of it. And that's where I'm very honest with you here. I'm stuck. I don't know which way to go with this. So I want to hear what your opinions are. And please don't hesitate. Leave them all down in the comments below. But let's talk about a little bit of where I struggle with on the air filtration side of this. And this is where I really struggle with this. When you hold a air filter up to the light, you should not be able to see all that light pouring through there. Now, this is just in an aisle at Walmart grabbing any panel filter off the shelf and holding it up to the lights that were quite a distance away. And they're horrible. I mean, you can practically see right through them. Now, I've heard people in the past say that, well, I talked to a K&N rep one time, and he told me that, the dirtier a K&N air filter gets, the better it filters. Well, doesn't that defeat the purpose of having a high performance air filter? If it's going to be clogged, then what really are you getting out of it? What's the advantage of it? If they don't flow a lot of air when they're clogged, but that's the only way to get them to filter out and actually get cleaner air through to the engine, then what's exactly the point of having a gauze element filter in your engine? And that's the part that I struggle with. Now, quite a number of years ago, and I'm going to try to remember exactly when. I'm going to say it was probably around 2000, one or two, somewhere in there. There was a company out of Arizona called TrueFlow, and TrueFlow made air filters that were a foam element, like you find in dirt bikes primarily, ATVs, side by sides, whatever. That foam element does a really good job of filtering air, but and it's not really, I don't think, as restrictive as paper is, but it's certainly a more complicated piece because of the type of oiling that those filters need to have. And that's the knock on the gauze filter, is if it's a wet style filter, meaning you clean it with a cleaner and then spray it with an oil. Those are wet style filters. So the knock on those is the wet or the oil gets onto the mass airflow sensor, fouls it, destroys it, whatever. Then you're stuck on the side of the road, or you need another mass airflow sensor to get you back going. The TrueFlow one was a very sticky, tacky type of oil that went into the foam type filter and was supposed to cure all those things. Now, TrueFlow was smart. They had this nice little cool, slick dirt demonstrator test where they would tell you all about the dirt that flies around in the air that gets in your engine, whatever. And then they would set up a machine that would suck down like 100 CFM at a time, airflow, whatever. And they would put whatever filter they were going to test on top. And at the bottom, out the out hole, would be a piece of, gauze or whatever to catch it. So they did would do the paper element filter first, and they'd put a small amount of dirt on there, and you could see it collecting on the little collection pad at the bottom. Nice little amount of dirt or whatever, right all over the filtered area, so it wasn't dumping it all in one spot. And then they went and did the K&N filter, and they would show how much, dirt would fall through it and how much would collect at the bottom on the little collection pad down there as well. And then they would get to the TrueFlow filter, which is a foam filter about the same size. I think they were for a late model Camaro or something at the time, one of the left or right side filters. And then they would dump a ton of dirt through it and show you that the foam filter caught a majority of the dirt. It was a great little test. It did a really good job of showing exactly, what the filter catches and what it doesn't catch. What it failed to do, however, though, is to see how much airflow that foam filter, would flow. Now, I remember seeing one of these, years ago and talking to these folks at SEMA, and they had a nice little pitch for it. There's only so much air that an air can pull, or that an engine can pull into the engine, and you're not going to overflow that, by anything. An air filter is an air filter. The restriction that is with it, you're not going to outflow it. So I guess it was kind of a cool little deal. Again, it was a great demonstration of what an air filter does or doesn't catch. So I thought I would include it here just because I thought it was cool, and it was from 15 years ago or more. So anyway, I thought it was just a cool little deal to relive it and show a good demonstration of how much dirt actually makes it through a paper element filter and through a K&N filter. And here's what the paper element looks like to give you a reference between it and the K&N. Again, I really struggle here with this. I've run paper elements on everything. I've run K&N elements before. I had a TrueFlow filter system on a Silverado pickup that I had quite a number of years ago. But in all honesty, I'm more concerned about the dirt getting in the engine than losing, 1 or 2 horsepower, if that's the case, going between a gauze element filter and a paper element filter. What do you think? Do you think there's a massive horsepower loss with a paper element filter over a gauze filter? Would it cause you to run, that gauze element filter like a K&N over a paper filter? The paper filter is not perfect. It filters okay, but it's certainly not, the most perfect filtering thing. But I think it filters more than the gauze type element does, even on a wet style that supposedly catches it all in the oil. But I don't know. Again, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. What are you running? What type of filter would you suggest, and what do you tell people that they should run on their vehicles? Do you think there's a huge advantage between a gauze and a paper element? If you do, and you think there is, then give me your thoughts on why you should run one over the other. Again, I think it's it's a good topic of discussion. I don't know that that I've seen anybody do any dyno results on it, but maybe that wouldn't be a bad time on the spin on the dyno one of these days. Certainly would be just a matter of doing an AB type of pull, tune everything, on a paper element style filter, or even an open element, nothing on there, throw a paper element filter on, then throw a gauze type filter on, see if there's any horsepower picked up in it. So anyway, I wanted to know what you guys thought. Again, I'm more than likely I will probably go with with a paper type element filter, unless there's something that comes out or I see something, over the next couple days, weeks, months, whatever, before I get this thing done. And decide actually what filter to throw on there. So anyway, leave me a comment down below. I'd really appreciate it. Certainly if you haven't subscribed already, always appreciate that as well. And, give me a thumbs up if you thought the video was cool and if you got something out of it. And, again, I always appreciate that too. So anyway, looking forward to the comments, and hopefully they'll be civil and nobody gets too angry or upset about it. But, certainly would like to hear what you guys think about it. So anyway, drop some comments down below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.